I don't have the music.
Oh, okay. I'll just stall everybody. Hey, welcome to the show. Ooh. Hey, it's Squatchable. We're going again. Yeah, get swifty. Come on, get swifty.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's a good time to be alive today. It's absolutely beautiful here. We had one little shower like about an hour ago,
That's
and
nice.
now the little white puffy clouds. It's just, I was out in the yard. I was working on my pond. It's like
That's cool.
spring.
That's awesome. We are having our sixth storm in a row.
I
It's
heard that.
windy and raining heavily, and a large portion of England is underwater right now. Thoughts and
Awesome.
prayers, you know. It's just a really terrible time in this country right now, flooding wise. We need some beavers, man. Beavers would sort this out.
Beavers was what you need.
Yep. You can't go
I'm going to
wrong
go
with a
into
beaver.
I'm going to go to the beaver exporting business.
Yeah. Get us some of them North American beavers over here instead of the European ones.
I don't know. They get a little bit out of control, and pretty soon you lose your cabin.
You lose your cabin. What? Do beavers eat cabins?
Oh, absolutely.
That happens. That's a thing.
No, I'm actually just making it up, but it could be a thing.
We are welcome to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, the number one source for beaver disinformation on the internet. I am your host, Richard Allen. Joining me, as always, Phil Pulling. Phil, how are you?
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks. And joining us, Chubbs. How are you, Chubbs?
Doing okay. Greetings to everybody.
Nice. How was is Mardi Gras happened yet, or?
Yep, that was Tuesday.
Nice.
Not too bad.
Nice. Did you have fun? A good Mardi Gras in New Orleans?
Yeah, we all did okay. The sun didn't come out, so we didn't get cooked. So it was nice. Everybody came home alive. So,
Well, if you enjoy Mardi Gras or Power Great, oh god, if you enjoy Mardi Gras or Power Breakdown, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of two Bigfoot. Head on over to Facebook and Bigfooting with Keith and Colin, where this week Keith and Colin will confront evil Keith and Colin. It's gonna be some dramatic stuff over there in Bigfooting with Keith and Colin.
It's a shame that they have to deal with the alternate universe.
Exactly. The alternate universe. I didn't actually think it was going to be an alternate universe. It was just going to be two evil Keith and Collins. Just have them show up. Why not? It's Bigfoot. Anything's possible.
I thought they were going to come out of a portal or something.
I try not to encourage portals, if I'm honest. I'm pretty anti-portal. It's well known. But our first story for this week comes from Squatchable. We have a 3-minute 46-second video posted by Sasquatch BC, The True Story. Can I just say, this dude has a nice voice. I kind of got a man crush on this guy's voice. Sort of like Sean Connery, if Sean Connery was Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Smarminess. A couple of the people that he was going out with, there's a friendship blossoming right there. That's the best thing about Bigfooting, he says. You find people to connect with and share in your hobbies. There are a lot of tree structures dotted in the area that he is filming. And he finds a hole in the ground and says it was once a footprint.
Mm-hmm.
The video ends with another tree structure. And the fact that there are so many in this area is sort of red flag for me, if I'm honest. Like someone came there and built them. What do I know? I'm not a Bigfoot expert.
There's no such thing as a Bigfoot expert.
There's no such thing. Phil, what did you think of the video?
Man, it was exciting.
It was
I mean,
exciting.
you got to go there. You just got to see this video. No, don't bother. It's listen. Yeah, you know the branch structures. I think they were like what 3 feet tall at the highest,
Mhm.
and it looked like the first one was like 3 foot tall, and the branches were maybe a couple inches around, and it was just stacked up on. I mean, and it looked like something that a couple of kids would make.
Yeah, that was my thought as well. I thought
Not only that, but it was inside of a campground. You can actually see the picnic tables and the public restroom off in the distance. It's a campground.
yeah.
And then we have a little structure that, oh, by the way, here's a structure. Like, oh, there's no way that these kids that were camping here in the campground with their parents made this thing.
That's just impossible. Why would you even suggest
Oh, no, no human being would do that.
No human being possibly builds tree structures. It can only be Bigfoot. I mean, this is well established Bigfoot behavior. Not show up properly on pictures, builds tree structures. That's just Bigfooting 101, Phil.
Mm-hmm. That's what they leave behind. That's circumstantial evidence.
Exactly. I mean, before they even let you Bigfoot, you got to pass that test. If they take a clear picture of you, you are out.
Another test I think they give you is they show you a bare footprint that's probably fitting into, let's say, a 9.5 man shoe.
Mhm.
And they ask you what it is, and if you say it's a dude's footprint, you're out. And if you say it's a juvenile Bigfoot, you're in.
Yep. I mean, yeah. I mean, this is just what is done in the Bigfooting world. Chubbs,
It has to be. It has to be.
your opinion, Chubbs, on this video.
I noticed that almost all the the down trees around that he was filming were like obviously cut by humans.
Yeah.
So like everything was flat on the end, so it wouldn't be too hard for them to build anything out there. So
No.
Well, yeah, but you know, it's a campground, and they need firewood, you know,
Yep.
to sell to the turistas. And so they cut down some of the older trees, and then later let it season, and then later they'll come out and they'll split it up and sell it for firewood for the camp.
Right.
Sure.
But obviously, Bigfoot didn't do that unless he knows how to use a chainsaw.
Bigfoot don't chop down trees, Phil. They just build stuff with it. Come on, man. You're supposed to be a breakdown expert. Why am I explaining this to you? I mean,
Well,
they magic up sticks and then build a structure with them.
But if they know what a camera is and what it does, they'd know how to use a chainsaw.
That's true. If they
Didn't
can
think of that, did you?
No. I have been resolutely put in my place, ladies and gentlemen. Phil Pulling has just proven why he is king of the breakdowns. And now I understand. If they can sense trail cams, they can use a chainsaw. Interesting video. The links are in the description as always. Phil, do we have a word from our sponsors this week?
Hey, Joey, I got some stuff you just gotta try. What is it? Pot. You know, marijuana.
Come on, smoke it.
It's stimulating, mind expanding, safer to use than alcohol, and as much a part of growing up as smoking corn silk behind the back fence.
Good health to all from Rexall.
Good old Rexall.
Oh yeah.
So our next story also comes from Squatchable. It is a review on the Ketchum problem. Well, that's one hell of a Freudian slip right there. She refused the Ketchum project, not the Ketchum project problem. Can't talk tonight. I'm not even drunk. I just can't talk for some reason. Anyway, this review is by Dr. Nora Crossroad. It is a 13-minute video on the Ketchum project. She begins by reading out the title on the North American hominid next generation sequencing. She then gives a quick overview of a scientific paper format, conclusions, peer listings, acknowledgements, recommendations. Apparently, she believes the project is well written. She got a hold of the paper for free from a website. She was happy that she didn't have to pay for it. She believes that there are no typos. The grammar is beautiful. It's written well, very professional. She gives a brief list of the evidence, photos, and sample locations, paying special attention to the sleeping Matilda picture, which, yeah, we'll get to that. It provided information on where and how the samples were collected. Very professional of them to say where they came from. Some people set up sticky strips on trees that were known to be rubbed by Sasquatch. She actually says this. Dr. Melda Ketchum is listed as a lead corresponding author. Wasn't the only contributor. Her speciality is forensics. She actually said the method she used in an analytic study. The results were charted, making it easier for the reader. Apparently, she reaches the part where a lot of people get upset about the study. They found out the mitochondrial DNA was half of Group H, modern human. Apparently, there must have been a human mother at some point who bred with another species, and that's what Sasquatch is. That's what the findings suggest. You have to go where the evidence leads you. She reads out her own DNA results for comparison, saying that Group H comes from West Asia, a bit of background on human DNA, modern human DNA, and the DNA from the Ketchum Project came up as unknown and non-Neanderthal. As a scientist,
the male side of it, yeah.
As a scientist, she says our choices are either to accept it or dismiss it or do it again. And that was her brief overview on the Ketchum Project. So apparently people know where to find trees that Sasquatch rub up against. So, you know, we're not putting up trail cams, we're putting up sticky strips. You know what? My problem with this Ketchum Project wasn't the writing or anything like that. It was that there was no chain of custody with any of the samples. And we don't have a Sasquatch genome specimen. So what was the point in it? Even if it was done correctly, which it wasn't. Sorry. I'll rant. Phil,
It was an exercise in futility. I mean, I can understand this doctor addressing the situation because it is a little bit fantastical, but the good doctor was just going through showing the nuts and bolts of how a scientific paper is supposed to be written. She didn't agree with the end, you know, the synopsis and everything. She said that was lacking. That didn't really show, you know, the result, you know, or what the result should have been, or what they expected and what it wasn't, and what it was. The part of the genome that was unknown. Yet the paper, you have the genome, which is one side was a female. Human, and the other side was an unknown. So what you have is a human and unknown does not make a Bigfoot. Unknown does not make a dragon. Unknown doesn't make a dog man. It's unknown. But yet you title the paper, you know, the DNA, you know, Bigfoot study, you know, where you're making an assumption prior to the analysis.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, exactly what it is. So there was a couple things that she did leave out, though. The publishing of the paper, that is the the magazine.
Yeah,
was a magazine, a science publication that was created by Melba Ketchum, because no other science magazine would post it.
Well, the thing that she left out that got me was she kept saying that she was a scientist and that she had a doctorate and was that she was a scientist, but she didn't mention the fact that it didn't pass peer review either.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point.
Yeah, which is kind of a big deal for a scientific paper. But as you rightly pointed out, that, you know, Melba Ketchum had to publish her own paper in her own journal. And that is not how peer review works.
Yeah, and the lady that was doing this, I can't remember what field of study she was in, but I don't think it was biology.
Psychology.
Psychology. So there was kind of a peer review done right then and there, live as it happened, which was kind of cool. But at the end of it, she could make no inroads as to the validity of the paper.
Exactly.
Other than, here's a fact: no typos. So,
well, obviously that's a big deal. Chubbs, what do you think?
I'm kind of amazed that this is the only thing to have ever come out of that whole project from years ago. Like, it may look all great, but they haven't done anything else since then, it seems, from the Sleeping Matilda or whatever. So I don't see, like, if they had so much info, they didn't do anything else with it. That kind of surprises me at this point, if it's so good.
Yeah, the Erickson photo.
Yeah.
Even though, he could have made a video just as easily.
He could have. Well, he did, didn't he? There was
no, he did because he wanted to show the rise and fall of the breathing. That's correct.
And then there was the Chewbacca picture.
Yeah, right.
The video.
The Chewbacca head. And
once people saw that, they were like, "Oh crap!"
Now we get it. It's like, now we get it.
Now we get it. Now we get what the Erickson project is all about.
Let's put some more tape on the tree, because obviously no raccoon or squirrel is gonna get close to that or rub on it or anything else and leave their hair. And bears don't scratch their backs on trees either. You know that?
No, they don't. I mean, once again, we're entering into what is definitely Bigfoot and what is not. And Bigfoot are the only animals that rub on trees now. That's a Bigfoot fact. So no other animal does that except for Bigfoot. If you see hair on tree, it is Bigfoot hair. So get that hair and send it to somebody.
Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Long came a Spidey, sat down beside he said, "Hey, what's in the bowl, bitch?"
That really necessary.
Oh, that's had to do with Melba Ketchum,
Very true. Very true. So another word from our sponsors?
Okay, sure. Why not?
Do we have any?
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Good health to all from Rexall.
Lisa, that one was a little lame. Oh well, they can't all be winners.
Hey, I don't program them. I just play them.
Oh, okay. Well, find out who made
Agent 98.6 sends the carts over, and I plug them in order.
Good old secret agent Stephanie. So our next video comes from YouTube. It is a possible Bigfoot caught on trail cam. It is my favorite video of the night. Can I just say that? It's 3 minutes long. The picture he shows is a copy of the original trail cam picture. He tells us the trail cam was 7 feet off the ground. He then shows the picture. It's a blob of fur. And I'm not exaggerating. Wish I had the ability to show graphics, because all it is a blob of fur. But apparently, since the blob is there, it proves upright walking, it proves it's bigger than the trail cam, and it proves that it's definitely Bigfoot. The trail cam was placed up in the Big Bulls area, where there are reports of a Bigfoot with reddish-brown fur. Some people might call it as blob squatch, but the man recording this video doesn't care because he knows what it is. Whatever it was super tool because it blocked out the cam. He doesn't want to post the actual picture from the trail cam because people will steal it. This is true, and it does happen. People do steal other people's Bigfoot pictures and say that they're theirs.
Really?
Yeah. preaching to the converted here. But yeah, it does happen, and that is that video. Wow. Phil, what do you say? Is there any doubt in your mind that was Bigfoot?
I believe him. I believe him totally and 100% that he knows that's a Bigfoot. I believe he knows that's a Bigfoot. I mean, I believe that he believes he knows that's a Bigfoot.
You're just going all in with this one, saying he believes 100%.
I believe that he is saying that he believes that's a Bigfoot.
I mean, it's just a blob of fur. What are you supposed to do with that?
It's the color. It even has that reddish brown fur, and a raccoon doesn't have reddish brown fur. Now a squirrel does, but a raccoon doesn't.
A red squirrel does have that exact color.
Right? Yeah.
But it couldn't possibly be that because it was up a tree, and it's not
because
like
it was 8 feet off the ground.
Climb trees, is it?
It was 8 feet off the ground on a tree.
That's just not something you associate with squirrels at all. Is them climbing trees?
But yeah, I love the guy's delivery though. I mean, it's dead serious. He had the bushwhacker hat on inside the house. Why do people do that? They have to wear the stupid, safari hat or something like they're the great white hunter. Is that proper these days to say that? Anyway, and they wear this freaking hat. It's like a identity thing, Why can't they wear a ball cap? Some do. I mean, if they really were into it, if they were really serious about the whole thing, they wouldn't be doing this play acting thing with a costume. Just forget the hat. Just no hat at all. Just do your thing, dude.
Yeah, you're not bona fide unless you have a safari hat. I mean, how do I know that I can trust your advice unless you're wearing a safari hat? Because only people in safari hats can hunt Bigfoot.
Actually, there is a point to that because when I do the show, I am going to be wearing a tiki hat. So
a tiki hat. There's a special tiki hat.
Well, it's a straw hat.
Ah, yes.
Like from the Bahamas type thing.
That one, yes, that is a good one. I like that. Yes. Because what did you think of this video?
The problem is like most with all these, he didn't show us like anything from the outside, like a picture of the tree, where he put it, any of the area. Like I had no idea where he was or what he was talking about. He just showed a picture, so there's nothing really to go on other than what he was telling us.
Yeah, that's all we had to go on, and I believe him. We've already gotten rid of.
Is there semen? Is there Bigfoot semen?
I'm trying to collect that right now.
We've eliminated squirrels as a suspect because they just don't climb trees, and there's nothing else it could be. I mean, yeah, okay, grizzly bears. Some of them have that kind of color fur, but that couldn't be it, could it?
No, bears don't climb up trees.
Bears don't climb trees. Squirrels don't climb trees.
Squirrels aren't 8 feet tall.
No.
People are going to get mad at us because we're so damn skeptical about everything.
We are. We're dismissing squirrels, bears, and everything. We don't believe in squirrels. Are squirrels even a thing?
Around here, it sure is.
Yeah, right. It's just right. Any word from our sponsors?
This portion of the show is being brought to you by Whatever We Have in Stock Are Us, your one-stop place to shop for whatever we happen to have lying around at the time. This portion of the show is being brought to you by...
Oh, nice. Keeps going.
We're just going to go. Keep going. Awesome.
Yeah.
Just turn the show into one long commercial. That would be
good.
Rexall Drugs 24/7. We ought to be getting a check from them if they still exist.
Yeah, the subsidies.
Exactly. I've got my Rexall cap on, safari hat on.
We should get. This isn't the BBC, people. We should get paid for the advertising.
We should. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that. That's another subject that I'll just start ranting about. But anyway, our next story comes from YouTube. It is a sighting report. It's a pretty long one. I've condensed it down a bit because, well, it was really long. It starts, I was driving home with my baby girl late after visiting her grandma one July night. I think it was the 4th of July weekend. I was coming up on a corner with a guardrail to my right, and there is a gully with a creek at the bottom and a telephone pole about 3 feet from the end of that. I was going 35 miles per hour. When I was almost around the corner, my light started hitting something that I thought was the telephone pole or guardrail at first, but I knew that it was something crouched down on the last cement rail post as I got closer. It stood up and jumped into the middle of the car lane and threw its hands up. It was about 8 feet tall. I was shocked. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. It was all black and definitely not a bear. It laid down in the road and let me run over it. All 4 tires went over it and there was a loud boom noise. I drove away scared that if I went to investigate, it might kill me and my daughter wouldn't have anyone to take care of her. I got my home and put my daughter to bed. My family had left a note saying that they were going to Canada. I decided to call 911 and tell them that I hit a bear and was worried it might be injured. I wanted them to find the dead Bigfoot. I wanted someone to discover it so I wouldn't seem crazy. I checked the damage to my car and saw the only damage was to my license plate. I found some hair hanging off it. My dog kept circling around the car and wouldn't leave it alone, so I took the hair and threw it in the garbage. My dog's hair was a similar color. DNA testing was announced only months later, and I was mad I didn't keep the hair. When my family got home, they didn't believe me. So I called 911 to check up on what had happened, and they had no record of my phone call from the night before. So I took one of my brothers to the spot where I hid him to show him the evidence, but there was nothing there. It hadn't rained. It hadn't even been 10 hours on a very lightly driven road. The only reason I'm coming forward now is because there's organizations that can take this sighting report and have databases. And the video ends with pictures of the road and a quick follow-up investigation by the BFRO that she is a 35-year-old homemaker, still lives in the area, described the scene. The investigator took pictures, found her to be pleasant and detail-orientated. Just another sighting report, fairly interesting. She ran over a Bigfoot and then it disappeared. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are many. The river is wide and deep. I would say, first of all, there's several things. One, she does seem to indicate a conspiracy kind of a thing, or a flavor of some conspiracy that, the police department didn't, I mean, I don't know who she called, but obviously she didn't call the dispatcher. She called the front desk. The lady at the front desk at the police department would say, well, we don't have any record here, my dear. You have to call dispatch or call the shift sergeant or something like that. And a lot of times people will call and they will indicate that that's not the right place to get that kind of information about call logs and so forth. And so that could have just simply been an oversight. Because as a police officer, we don't care. I didn't care. Our department did not care about Bigfoots. And if there was a Bigfoot, we would have called somebody to come get the Bigfoot. I don't know, some science, whatever.
Some science people.
Animal control. I don't know. We would have called a bunch of people, and maybe even the news media.
Was that the police speed dial, FBI, CIA, science people?
But cops and FBI agents, we have a lot more interesting and important things to do than to try to cover up Bigfoot.
But wouldn't you say that if you were covering it up?
Well, let me put it this way. Here's point number 2.
Okay.
She drove her brother back to the spot where she hit the Bigfoot. She couldn't find the other half of her license plate holder on the ground. She couldn't find any blood or hair or anything on the ground. And this was at night, right? I think she wasn't in the right spot.
Right.
I think it's just that easy. I think she didn't go far enough down the road.
Yeah.
A backcountry road looks like a backcountry road, whether you're 2 miles out or 4 miles out.
But it was at the end of the guardrail. That's a landmark.
There's a lot of guardrails on these roads.
In
fact, I know exactly where this road is.
Oh.
We get a lot of Bigfoot sightings up here, Snohomish County and north, which is where she's at, Whatcom County. They're just about a lot of sightings, a lot of them. So, it could be that the Bigfoot just got up and walked off.
Just walked it off.
Another Bigfoot came and drug him out. I don't know.
I just, they're saying this in the chat as well, but I got to bring this up. It's the suicidal Bigfoot that's giving me pause. The fact that it just laid down in the road and just let it run over it.
And that was point number 4.
But so far you're saying you believe she hit a Bigfoot, she just didn't find the right spot in the road.
I say it's more than possible that she hit a Bigfoot, probably didn't kill it. There's a lot of Bigfoot up in this area. I do know that there's a lot of sightings to kind of back that up. I understand that they're just stories.
Yeah.
But then again, I have a story too, so why shouldn't I believe it?
Why indeed? All right. But yeah, Chubbs, what did you think about this sighting report?
The only thing I could add is I have family and friends who work for fire department, and there's no quick way to clean up everything when you run over something. So I find that a stretch, and anytime I've ever heard of anybody running over or hitting an animal, it does a little bit more than crack your license plate. So that's the parts I don't find too easy to believe.
Okay, well, first of all, if this story is true, we're talking about a Man in Black cleanup operation. So they can just get down there with 1 million cans of Purell and wipe that stuff up in 5 minutes.
They had 100 guys in black flown in by helicopter, and each helicopter had fire hoses attached
with a mop and bucket
and a way to dry it up real quick so she doesn't come back and find the water.
Exactly. A bunch of mops and buckets, a bunch of towels, stealth helicopters. They just descended on this spot, cleaned it up. But as to the other point, you are right. There would be a lot more damage to the car than a broken license plate.
I had a deer once, a small deer, and it mashed in my bumper and my grill and my left front fender.
There you are then. And a Bigfoot is I don't know, bigger than a deer, apparently, according to reports. 900 pounds. That's what they say Bigfoot is. That would do a lot of damage to your car.
Yeah, and I don't think one would fit underneath your car either. No. I mean, if
wasn't it a Honda Civic?
Yeah. How can you run over a Bigfoot with a Honda Civic?
Practice. I mean, maybe she'd been working up to this. I mean, that's the other half of the story. Maybe this is a Bigfoot serial killer that's been caught and is making up a story to cover it. Maybe she's driving that road all the time, whacking down Bigfoot in a Honda Civic.
Maybe it was that dude from Montana who was running in front of cars and finally got hit by a car. He was wearing a Bigfoot suit. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Out on Highway 2. He ran out, tried to scare people, and one lady just ran right into him. Well, maybe this was a preliminary.
That's the thing I come back to. The suicidal Bigfoot thing is just ridiculous. That's when I zoned out of this story. It jumped into the middle of the road and laid down, and she just ran over it. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
Well, then there's point number 5. And I'm really not doing this to insult her or bash on her, the lady that runs the channel or anything like that, really, because I know that reality TV, like the channel I was on, what was it, Discovery or whatever it was, can't remember, A&E, when they were filming my my UFO story when I was a cop, they basically take other sources and they take those sources, they put them on a reality show, and then they show it. And there are people that, like, I started doing this storytelling things called, remember the Files from the BFRO? Remember that? And I did 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then after that, Reverend Jeff started doing them, and I think Matt Knapp started doing them, and somebody else started doing them. Anyway, that's what this gal is doing. That story came right out of BFRO stories, verbatim. She read it verbatim off of the BFRO.
Oh, wow.
But she didn't say it's a BFRO case.
No.
Not only that, but they have this prelim on the website, and they're saying a lot of people, they don't want to be criticized or humiliated, and they need a place to go to tell their story. Well, this is the place.
Yeah.
And they make it like this channel is just for people who can come forward and tell them the story so they can put it up on YouTube, even though this story is from the BFRO. So I think that's disingenuous, is what I would say. That's all I would say.
All right. That's what. So, yeah. Oh, that's it, Jet Sex. That's the best one. Suicidal emo serial killer Bigfoot.
That's Skinny Bigfoot. What? Okay.
Hey, Joey.
Uh-oh.
I got some stuff you just gotta try.
Not that
What
kid
is it?
again.
Pot.
That kid. How about this one?
More coffee, Tom?
No, thanks, dear.
Try one of these Geno's pizza rolls, Brad. They're great.
Okay. It's a nice party, Mrs. Clark.
I see your husband didn't like your coffee. I beg your pardon. I'm Mrs. Johnson. You should try my coffee. Look, I don't know who you are or how you got into my house, but you take your coffee and leave, okay?
What's that?
Beats me. Do you like the pizza rolls?
Wild. They taste like cheeseburgers.
And these taste like chili burgers, and then over here I have ham and cheese.
You seem to have everything, Mrs. Clark. Ever think you had bad breath, too?
No, but you do.
You can depend on any drug product that bears the name Rexall.
Good old Rexall. They're the best. They're just the best. We love them. We love them on this channel. We always will. So for our final story, it comes from YouTube, Real Eyes TV, Family of Bigfoot Caught on Video. We start with, according to reports, a man claims to have found a mysterious picture while going through his deceased grandfather's stuff. There was nothing written on the photo, but his grandfather's land bordered 10,000 acres of state land, and his grandfather was an avid hiker. We then see the picture. It's 2 bipedal things in black and white. There's not much else. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Keep going.
Not much else you could say about that picture except for
that it's an app.
That it's an app. Okay.
Yeah, it's an app. It's a cell phone app.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go away from that to Arizona researcher Mitch Waite, who has been building up a substantial amount of Bigfoot evidence in the Mogollon Rim area, including a picture of Bigfoot raiding an ice chest and a Bigfoot grave. In the next video, you will see a family of Bigfoot while he camped out alone at the night. This was clickbait, by the way. You never see that. We see Mitch describing himself up in the mountains in a cabin. I believe he's camping by himself. He says he's hearing some hoots and squeaks, and that Bigfoot are moving in. He shows us the picture of pareidolia, and then we go back to him talking again, and his motion detectors are going off, like beep beep beep. Like, so apparently there are Bigfoot all over the camp because the beeping sound indicates the motion detectors are going off. Because you can't program these things to just go off when you press a button. It has to be something setting them off. Then we see a picture of an artist's conception of what he said he could see out of the window, which is 3 Bigfoots sitting at a table. And then we see some of his other pictures, which, well, to call them pareidolia is incredibly generous in my opinion. And the video ends with him describing this imaginary group of Bigfoot called Hootie and Squeaky, which show up in his pictures as leaves and trees. And that was that video. What did you think of that, Phil?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of fun when you get out there in the woods and I just attach a couple of trail cams to a tree, you know, which is kind of fun. And then you go back to your campground, you roast some marshmallows, and you take it easy and lay back and do a little bit of no other research, even the next morning. I mean, there's just nothing. The guy was just, I think the guy was lazy.
Lazy, yeah.
Do you even want to find Bigfoot, son? Because you don't act like it. What time did you get up this morning? Noon. Bigfoot doesn't get up at noon. He gets up at 4:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
So there. So what do you think, Chubbs?
I will say that's the first time I ever saw or heard about Bigfoot actually sitting down at a table anywhere to do what they got to do. I've never seen him sitting like that. That was interesting.
Well, it was just an artist's conception of what Mitch said he could see.
Well, no, but the fact that he says he saw that, like, I haven't heard that one before, that they sat down to actually have a picnic.
Yeah, I mean, do you think one of them was like, my porridge is too hot? And the other one was, my porridge is too cold?
Well, his porridge wasn't just right.
No. I'm sorry. It's just it's been a dry week, Bigfoot news-wise. I mean, I really found these at the dregs of YouTube, but this was a particular waste of my time. This video.
Hi there, nice to be with you. Happy you could stick around. Like to introduce Legs Larry Smith, drums.
Yeah, it was a halfway decent show, though. We pulled it out of the trash can.
We did. It was a good show. We talked about some good stories and some not so good stories. The links are in the description. We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. Phil, you didn't even have any Bigfoot breakdowns this week. Can we expect?
No, I got lazy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this show, and I've been on the internet, burning up the internet waves, trying to buy some things that I absolutely need because I want it done right.
Yeah. Yep, Midnight at the Oasis. That's coming soon.
It'll come. It'll happen. Hopefully next week.
Next week.
Next Saturday, 11 p.m.
Next Saturday. Awesome. Chubbs, you up to anything?
Just got usual a couple some trailer reviews and just some entertainment stuff. Nothing too extravagant.
Good times and noodle salad. All right, yes, so we will return next week, hopefully with some decent Bigfoot stories. It's good night from me, and it's good night from them. Good night.
Base Sax.
Good night.
Great honor, sir.